Welcome back to the Zach Tapes. My name is Zach, and as you can tell, we have a bit of change of scenery. Today, I am at my mom's house, so I've got my nerd shelf up in the back here with my nerd accoutrement. But today, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies in my Letterboxd top 4. It's going to be Red, White, and Royal Blue. So this is my second podcast that I'm doing about a movie that's in my top 4 on Letterboxd, but I truly really do love this movie. If you want to go check out my podcast about The Substance, go ahead, but let's get started. Oh, I can't really stand up in here because this is the height of the room, but I have a Nicholas Galaxy and Etsy t-shirt on. Here's a picture of me wearing it, but I just wanted you to know that I own this shirt mostly because of this movie and because of the idea of you, and High Strung was bad, but that's on here too. But yeah, let's get into it. We open on Alex Claremont Diaz, the charismatic son of the American president, in a car with his best friend Nora on the way to the royal wedding. Here we get an exposition dump about the wedding. It's Prince Henry's older brother who's marrying his childhood sweetheart, blah, blah, blah. But then we learn that Prince Henry is called the Prince of England's Hearts and that Alex is called the American Prince Henry. So already starting the comparisons. Alex is called the American Prince Henry, and this is all on a phone broadcast from Nora's phone. Alex floats the idea to Nora of what if we just skip the royal wedding and go sightsee in London? And Nora she says no. we're gonna go see Buckingham Palace, big buddy.
You're not gonna want to hear this, but that Prince Henry is so yummy.
Nora, no. He's such a snob.
I don't know, man. If I was gonna go for a rich white boy, that is the rich white boy I'd go for.
But he's the worst kind of rich white boy. So smug and entitled.
Oh, you know what is obscene? Is how attractive the president's son is. Have you ever met him?
Yes, a few times. He's very animated.
He's the world's rudest person.
He's the world's most irritating person.
Also, I swear that he is not 6'2".
I have heard so much about you. You're sticking with me tonight. Come on.
How's it going?
So this clues us in on Henry and Alex's dynamic. Puts down the foundations for what's going to happen at the reception. Now that Nora has been snagged by Princess Beatrice, or we'll just be calling her B for the rest of this movie, or the rest of this video, Alex is left to his own devices and uses it to get quite tipsy. After Alex has had a few drinks, he finds Henry by the cake. They have a bit of sarcastic banter. Alex is clearly peeved at how regal and serious Henry is. Alex picks up his glass from next to the cake and gets frosting all over his hand. Henry begins to walk away from him, clearly done with Alex's antics, and Alex grabs his shoulder but gets frosting all over Henry. Alex starts he's holding onto his shoulder with the hand, right? And he starts oh no, and starts rubbing all this frosting on Henry's coat. This in turn gets almost everyone in the reception to look at them. They all the whole reception turns their attention to Henry and Alex. Alex is trying to help clean, but Henry shoves him off, and Alex knocks into the cake. Alex then takes Henry down with him to the ground, where this 75,000-pound ginormous wedding cake falls down on them. This is also where we get one of my favorite behind-the-scenes clips.
What have you done? Oh,
Isn't that the best? And then roll credits to the theme of Bad Reputation by Joan Jett. And the credits are cute, but just go watch the movie if you want to see them, because I can't really show them here without getting copyright claimed. After the credits, We're back at the White House in America, where Alex is getting a presidential talking to from his mother, President Ellen Claremont. Uma Thurman. I watched another YouTuber called Uncarly on here do a video about this movie as well, where she just calls Ellen Claremont President Uma Thurman the whole time. And I was tempted, but I don't want to steal the joke, so it's just gonna be Ellen. Ellen tells Alex that because of this cake incident, they might lose a major trade deal with England, that's a lot. That's maybe a lot. This introduces Zara, Ellen's chief of staff and right-hand woman. Zara tells Alex that he's going back to England to make good with the prince and act like they're good friends, and that this was all a big joke, but not before beating him with a pillow.
Zara! What are you? Stop!
Alex arrives at Kensington Palace, where he meets Sean, Henry's equerry. Alex is clearly underdressed for the occasion, showing up in a tank top with like a loose button up over it and jeans, while everyone else is wearing like full three pieces, including Henry, who pulls up in a Bond-esque fashion, a small sports car, suit, and sunglasses. Alex and Henry immediately have to start taking photos of Henry welcoming him, so Alex doesn't even get to change. Alex has to stand to the right of Henry, which is both his good side and protocol. Now suited up and showered, Alex and Henry do several interviews together. The next stop on Alex and Henry's good press tour is a local women's and children's hospital. They do a story time for the kids, and as they're walking out, like back towards the general hospital, I guess. General hospital. They are walking out and they hear what seems to be gunshots. So Amy, who is Alex's Secret Service agent, shoves them into a closet and tells them to stay down. It is in the closet that they have their first actual conversation. Ha 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 ha. Henry starts it off with asking Alex, "Why'd you dislike me?" Alex tells Henry that when they first met, that Alex walked up to him and introduced himself, and Henry looked at him like he had head lice. Alex continues that Henry then turned to Sean, his equerry, and said, "Get me out of here." When Alex is finished, Henry asks what else he did, and when Alex doesn't respond, Henry guffaws and realizes that was it. Alex goes, "Don't minimize it," and Henry's like, "How could I? How much smaller could it be?" But Henry stops and apologizes and said he was a prick to a lot of people back then because his dad had just died and he was being like dragged all over the place for like good press. It's like they're seeing each other for the first time in this closet. Again, teehee funny. We've seen them interact for a while now, just from the scenes we've seen, and it's just been like quips and jabs. This is the first time they're treating one another properly. After Alex and Henry are released from the closet, they actually leave. Henry says something like, "Thank God it's over. Now we never have to see each other again." But Alex says Henry is expected to come to his New Year's party, and that Henry's like not about that life. They say a final goodbye with a handshake in front of photographers. I almost thought I said photographers wrong. When Alex gets back to the White House, we meet his dad, Oscar, who is a congressman. They have a chat about Henry, where Oscar asks Alex why he dislikes Henry. Alex responds, "He's elite and privileged and lives in a palace." Oscar is like, "You're elite and privileged and live in a palace." The next day, we have to assume, Alex is getting a coffee when he runs into a friend, Miguel, who is a political journalist. Miguel starts by asking him actual questions, then he starts getting flirty with it and asking Alex to hang out again because it's been a while. Alex is like, I think I have to go. I think someone's calling my name. I gotta get out of here. And then, say it with me now, montage time! Henry got Alex's number from MI6, which is the UK version of the Secret Service, and the montage shows their relationship progression through texting. From sending jokes back and forth to book recommendations to them eventually calling one another. Like when Alex calls Henry on Thanksgiving because he learned that the pardoned turkey stays in a hotel in DC before it gets pardoned. And he argued that it should have a room in the White House instead, and so they put it in his room. I think this is hilarious because it shows, like, that they're just people, right? They're like, oh, he's, like, campaigning for this, like, for us not to spend money on a hotel for these turkeys. Let's put him in his room. Like, that's so funny. Anyway, Henry asks what crime the turkey has committed to be pardoned from, and Alex is just like, don't look at it too, like, it's not that deep. Don't look at it like that. Once they move on from the turkey talk, Henry shares that he is a brutal insomniac and that he's watching Bake Off with his dog David. Alex is like, speaking of, who names their dog David? And Henry responds, he's like, he's named after Bowie, obviously. Alex is like, surprising. You're more of a human than I thought. Alex then asked Henry if he's been surprised by anything Alex has done, like if he sees Alex any differently from before. And Henry goes, nope! like my brother does when he's in trouble. He goes, nope! Like, and then Alex and Henry hang up. Like, that's it. That's the end of it. Around Christmas time, Alex goes and talks to Zara about a memo he wrote about the campaign zeroing in on Texas, his mom's home state, and therefore his home state, obviously. Zara basically says, no one asked you to write this memo, and no one really likes when the president's families get involved with the campaign. And Alex goes, please! And Zara says she will look into it so long as he leaves her office. Just remember that part. Like, remember Alex having a memo about Texas, because that'll come back in a big way. Finally, the night has arrived. It's time for Alex's New Year's party. Henry does in fact make it, and he brings along his best mate, Percy Akonjo, or Pez. And despite it being Alex's party, he spends nearly the whole night talking to Henry and, like, no one else. Alex finally gets on the dance floor when Get Low by Lil Jon starts playing. Alex gets pulled away by a girl, but then we get this, which is one of the best parts of storytelling in this movie, that even though they are separated by multitudes of people, the pair are really only thinking about and seeing each other in that moment. I love when they do beautiful shit like this in movies. The announcement then for 10 seconds to midnight, and everyone starts counting 10, 9, and at midnight, Alex gets kissed by, count 'em, not one, but 2 different girls. Hey, that's crazy. When coming up for air, Alex notices Henry seems upset, and he watches him leave. Like, he looks upset, he's leaving. Alex eventually finds him outside and asks if he did something wrong. Henry ignores this and instead poses a question of his own.
Do you ever wonder who you'd be if you were an anonymous person in the world?
Alex basically says that he was just a normal kid, before his mom became president. He then asks Henry the same question. Who would he be? Henry replies that I would be a writer in Paris. Probably date more. Alex scoffs, poking fun at Henry, and is like, oh yeah, because it's so hard for you to get a date. Henry says somberly that the people I date don't interest me, and the people who interest me I can't date. Alex is confused by this, and that's when Henry kisses him. Alex is caught off guard. Just when he starts to kiss back, Henry runs away. The next time we see Alex texting Henry, it's been a month since the party, and Henry hasn't responded at all to Alex's texts in that time. So without a response from Henry, Alex goes to speak with Nora instead, and he meets her at her office. Alex tells Nora about the kiss, and Nora basically says, I know. She's like, yeah, bestie, we've been clued into that one before. She goes on saying that they've been text flirting for months. You pretty much only talked to him at the party. And the best thing she says is, and he kissed you, and you liked it. Queen. Nora is like one of the best characters in this movie. I would say it would go Zara, Henry, Nora, and then Alex. If you couldn't tell, I don't have a Taylor Zaccar Perez shirt. I have a Nick Galitzine shirt. So sorry to Alex, but Nora's a queen nonetheless. So Nora, being the best friend of all best friends, says, here's the answer. Like, you like him. You like the kiss. She's laying it out for you. And Alex goes, I don't know. And Mia and Nora are on the same page here.
Come on!
Like, yeah, that would be exactly how I would react too. Alex says he can understand being low level into guys, which is hilarious and also foreshadowing. I want to describe myself as low level into guys too. It's hard being gay in this economy. But he can't understand being into Henry, which is like fair. If I had an enemy too, I'd be like, why am I in love with him? Nora's like, speaking of being into guys, how many guys have you been with? Alex says 2. 1 when he was in high school, and 2 with Miguel, which is a callback from earlier. We met Miguel at the coffee shop. Nora freaks out about Miguel, and she's like, the Politico reporter? And Alex tells her that they made out in a hot tub, skinny dipping, and how he's got the sense that Miguel would like him back into that hot tub. But he's a journalist. Journalist derogatory. Nora rebuts that, right, because closeted princes are so much better. Alex then tells Nora that Henry is his guest to the Prime Minister's dinner at the White House, and that he hopes that he won't be ignored all night. So, a month later, the night of the Prime Minister's dinner, Alex does all his first son duties, taking pictures with his parents and probably other people. But then he runs into Miguel, who shamelessly flirts with him like straight out of the gate. This conversation also gets the ball rolling on a pretty large plot point, like I mentioned earlier, that being Alex's Texas campaign memo. This being introduced by Miguel, kind of. We saw Alex talk about it with Zara earlier, but Alex says, like, how did you read that? It was super confidential. Blah, blah. Miguel's a journalist. He has his sources, blah, blah. That's when Henry walks in, and Alex couldn't give less of a shit about what Miguel has to say. Miguel's, like, talking to him right in front of him, and he's like, wow, look, it's Henry. Miguel asks him, is this the year the Democrats flip Texas? While he's doing Google eyes at Henry. And Alex, with his lack of media training, like, out the window, says, yeah, we're gonna flip Texas, while walking over to his Secret Service agent. Alex tells her that he needs to speak to Henry privately. So Amy gets Henry to the red room. No, not that kind. Red room. When Henry enters the room, he immediately starts apologizing. My behavior was appalling. Alex tells him to shut up and stop talking, and then we get another kiss.
Alright, fellas, time's up. We gotta get back to... Oh, God.
When Alex and Henry get back to the party, they start talking with President Uma Thurman. Oh, I did write the joke. Hey, I'm sorry, Carly. Not that if she ever watches this, but they talk to President Uma Thurman and the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister notes that he and Henry seem to be on better terms and not on the floor. Alex responds with a crazy sentence. He goes, yes, Prime Minister, Henry and I are much more comfortable against walls. And then he fucking cups Henry's ass. Like, you're in the White House, dog. Hey, dog. You are in the White House with a reporter Miguel and a bunch of other ones with photographers. This whole thing is being taped. Like, all functioning thought went out the window. Insane. Just insane. Anywho, when Alex's mom and the Prime Minister walk away, Alex lays out what the rest of the night is going to look like. He tells Henry that to stay at least 500 feet away from him at all times. And then at midnight, Henry will come up to Alex's room in the residence, where Alex will, quote, do some very bad things to you. A little after midnight, Henry shows up to Alex's room. Another thing, wouldn't, everyone who's in the residence, be talked about? Like, wouldn't everyone who comes into the residence, be in, do you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that. If Henry's coming up to Alex's room in the residency, would the president not be informed? About everything? So, I don't know, man. There's, weird parts of this story where it's would this really happen? And is this plausible? Which is every movie, but, I've just been thinking about it, you know? Besides the point, I guess. Because Henry ends up going south and, afterwards, Alex tells Henry that he's bi, and Henry tells Alex that he's as gay as a maypole. They never go on to elaborate exactly what a maypole is, so I will. This is a little tangent hour. A maypole is a tall, decorated pole traditionally made of a stripped tree trunk, around which people dance in a variety of celebrations. So, if you've seen the movie Midsummer, it's this thing. But it can also look like this. So, Henry is equivocating the gay to mean homosexual with the gay to mean lighthearted / carefree, like one would be when participating in a maypole. With the history lesson over, Henry invites Alex to a charity polo match that is put on by his bestie, Pez. Alex says, I don't know how to play polo. And, yeah, dumbass, you're not gonna be playing. Henry is. Duh. We then get one of my favorite songs from this soundtrack. It's called Tu-Bardh. I've linked it in the description because if I played it, I'd be copyright claimed. But it's my favorite song, one of my favorite songs in this movie. Henry arrives in Windsor and watches Henry play polo. After the match, Henry takes Alex to the tack room and they have a spot of fun. And by that I mean they do things in the tack room that should be done in private, probably. And after that, they go from Windsor to Paris, which I don't know. There's airstrips close to there, but I don't know. I guess the explanation is they're both rich, but the logistics of this are insane. They are sitting in a cafe in Paris when Alex says he wants to ask Henry a question. Does Henry have a last name? And Henry actually says he has several. And I no shit when I was watching this got it right. His whole name. I wrote it down before I watched the scene, my guess. And it is Henry George Edward James Hanover Stuart Fox.
And then you get this picture. And then I take her to my penthouse and I freak it.
And I thought Alexander Gabriel Claremont Diaz was a mouthful.
He is.
We then see the boys walking and having a chat about Henry's life. Alex asks if anyone knows about Henry. And Henry says that his sister is the only one he's felt comfortable to tell. That his mother probably suspects. And that his brother is wholly oblivious. And that his grandfather, the king, sat him down on his 18th birthday and told him not to let any desires he might have reflect poorly on the crown. And I agree with Alex, because Alex is like, that's bullshit. And yeah, I fear it is, Queen Bestie Henry. Jeez Louise. But Henry, he's in his feels and he goes, it's my life. He continues, Prince Henry Prince Henry belongs to Britain. Henry Fox has to belong to himself, or else he'll vanish. Alex asks, can he ever belong to someone else? Henry responds, only momentarily. Me when I'll actually lose my mind. Then we get one of the best love-making scenes in cinema, and it's actually what made this movie rated R. But the way Henry calms all of Alex's worries, and the way they are just there for one another in the moment, when they look at each other, you can just like feel the love radiating off the screen, and it's beautiful. Please, I'm begging you, if you haven't seen this movie yet, please go watch this movie. Because it has its very cheesy moments. It's a rom-com. It's not going to be perfect, but to see gay love represented on a... Are you fucking kidding? No! I was having a moment! Y'all, filming in the summer is no joke. I just had to wait so long for my thing to work again. My goodness gracious. Okay. Welcome back. Okay. I think I was just talking about how beautiful it is to see gay love on screen, and gay, in more layman's terms, gay sex on screen. But yeah, let's get back, because I have 24% left on my camera and 7 pages of script to get through. So we gotta start. Afterwards, after they make love in Paris, Alex heads back to America, where he immediately is being yelled at by his mom, the president, about how he made a claim to Miguel Ramos earlier about flipping Texas. This was at the prime minister's dinner, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna flip Texas. Ellen yells at him saying, now we have to come out and say that we don't have a Texas strategy. And Alex yells back, if you read my memo, you would learn that we do have a Texas strategy. He continues, why aren't you registering 1 million new voters? Why aren't you fighting for your home state, Ma? The argument goes on for a fair bit longer, but the Cliff's Notes is that Ellen asks Zara for the memo, and a couple days later, her and Alex's dad tells him that he's going to Texas, baby!
Dear Henry, greetings from the Lone Star State. It's hard to put into words how exciting it is to be back here working to get my mom reelected. The energy here is electric, and I think we can make a real difference. The only thing that would make it even better is if you were here.
Dear Alex, I can't think of a single way to start this email except to say you're incredible.
This is when, if you've read the book, you will start noticing differences. Because in the book, Alex never goes to Texas besides at the end when... you'll see. This is also when Alex moved from what looked like WhatsApp earlier to emailing one another, which is what you just saw/heard. We got this montage of Alex doing his thing in Texas while he and Henry write back and forth to one another via email. After he hits 1 million new registered voters in Texas, Alex heads to the Democratic National Conference to speak, unlike me, who can't even speak on my podcast. In the hotel bar, Alex and Miguel have a chat. Miguel suggests that they're both staying at the same hotel tonight.
Eyebrows.
Alex shoots him down so fast and calls him an asshole. When he walks away, he turns face to face with Henry. So he gets up and he walks towards the door, and Henry, right there. Miguel sees Alex and Henry walk away together, and you can see his gears start turning. That night, Alex and Henry stay in a hotel room together. I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together. The next morning, Zara comes to get Alex to do press, and we get one of my all-time favorite scenes. So I can't play that much, but I'll tell you the first half, then show you the second, best part. When Zara hears Alex and Henry talking, she uses a key card to get in and to see who Alex is hooked up with. Alex tries to get her to leave, but Henry makes a noise from inside the closet, and they get found out. I just realized this is like the third time Henry has been in a closet. When he comes out of the closet, when he physically exits the closet, Zara asks how long the two of them have been going on, and who knows. Alex answers since the New Year's party is when they've been together, and that Secret Service, Nora, Pez, and Henry's sister B. But you're all caught up, so here's the rest of it.
Okay, shut up, okay? The both of you. I need to think. Oh.
Please don't tell my mom.
Seriously? Alex, we are in a hotel crawling with reporters in a city filled with cameras on the precipice of the biggest event of the campaign in a race so close it could be arrested for assault, and you're asking me not to tell your mommy on you?
I haven't told her yet.
Oh, gee, kid. I'm sorry to interrupt your process of becoming, but you're the one who decided to put your dick into the heir to the British throne.
Well, technically, I'm the spare.
Not talking to you, sir. Oh. Okay. Would it make any difference if I told you not to see him again?
No.
Every time I see you, it takes another year off of my life. All right. I'm going downstairs. And you better be dressed and in the lobby in 5 minutes so we can get your mother reelected.
I'll be there.
And as for you, little Lord Fuckleroy, you get your ass back to merry old England right now. I want you chewing on a goddamn crumpet by sunset, and if anyone sees you leave this hotel, I will Brexit your head from your body. You got me?
Loud and clear.
Your Royal Highness. Unbelievable. They pay me so much shit.
I fucking love that almost everything she's just said would probably get her fired, and she says it anyway. I love Zara Bankston. She is number one on the movie of this movie, best character. I also have that whole monologue memorized, so there's that. When Alex gets back to America, he goes and talks to his mom. Alex says that he's been figuring some stuff out about himself that are relevant to his mom's campaign. That he's met someone. Ellen says, "Oh, that's great, darling. She's not a Republican, is she?" Because that's how Uma Thurman sounds in this movie. Alex says, "No, she is also a he, and he happens to be Henry." This is another departure from the books. When Ellen, the books, hello, from the book, when Ellen finds out that Alex is gay, she has a big stink about everything, and she even makes him a PowerPoint presentation. In the books, I would say she's not any less supportive. She's just like a bit more conservative about things. Like, she's not less supportive, she's just thinking about how this will affect her re-election bid, basically. Where was I? I think it's better in the movie because she's more accepting and loving. However, she does make a PowerPoint joke, so we get that nod to the book, which is awesome. She goes, if I had more time, I could have made you a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know what my southern accent is. I don't know what I'm basing that off of, but here we are. Things do get serious, though, when Ellen tells Alex that he needs to figure out if he's feels forever about Henry, before he can let this, like, define his life. Before Henry can define Alex's life. She then breaks the tension again by telling Alex to use condoms, and that he should be on Truvada. Which, for any straight folk out there, that is PrEP. So you don't get HIV. She also says that Alex has to tell his dad. And he's like, oh. But he ends up doing it. It is Labor Day weekend now. And Alex's parents have a summer house. Sorry, I just had a freak out. I didn't know if I was recording or not. Alex's parents have a summer house, and that they're all going to celebrate at it, so Alex and Nora invite Henry and Pez. Once the four of them get to the house and Henry and Oscar's dad meet properly.
It's great to see you again, son.
What's with the sir? Please, call me Congressman.
Oh, well, in that case, you can call me Your Royal Highness.
Who's ready to party?
And then Alex puts on my favorite song of the movie, which is Canciones de Amor a ti. Don't come for me, I don't speak Spanish, but I know every word to the song. We then get a montage of everyone enjoying themselves, culminating in them going out to a bar. It's when Henry's singing Don't Stop Me Now at karaoke that we see Alex sort of internalizing and realizing his love for Henry. It's very similar to when Henry realized his love for Alex at the New Year's party, where everything else fades away, like Henry's singing goes away, except for like an ethereal piano track. Great callback, great scene. When Alex wakes up the next morning, he and his dad get to talking. Alex asks his dad, "Do you like Henry?" And Oscar says, "What's not to like?" His dad then monologues about when him and Ellen got together, that it was seen as stupid too. And he ends it off by saying,
Sometimes you just gotta jump. Hope you're not standing on a cliff.
And then we get the infamous dock scene. Henry is on a floating dock, sunbathing, when Alex swims over. Alex tells Henry about what they could do next summer at the summer house. That Alex could show Henry around, and that Henry could get to know his life a little more. That's when Alex gets dangerously close to the L word, and Henry jumps off the docks and swims away. That night, after Alex goes to bed, Henry flies home to England. He has a conversation in the gardens with his sister Bea. Henry tells her that he broke up with Alex in Texas. This is the first time we're seeing the world through Henry's eyes, his habits, his duties, and he lives a very melancholic existence. He's very somber in his worldview. Back with Alex and Nora, he's telling her that Henry won't pick up any of his calls or answer any of his texts. Nora says Pez tells her that Henry goes into these cocoon phases and you kind of just have to wait him out. And Alex says he can't wait, that he's going crazy. And Nora says, "Go, you have airplane miles. Go get your man." The next thing we see is Henry reading in Kensington Palace when his ward informs him that Alex is at the gate. They have a good row about Henry leaving and Alex being left in the dark about like how they differ, how they're the same, like what's going on, Henry type thing, with Henry delivering this heart-wrenching line.
My life is the crown and yours is politics, and I will not trade one prison for another.
Alex then says, "Fine, I'll leave, but only if you tell me to go." And instead of doing that, Henry tells Alex that there's something he has to see. This is my personal favorite part of the movie. This, like I said, I've probably seen this movie like 20 times. Upwards, probably, of 20 times. But when I tell you I skip this scene every time, you best believe it. But I understand why it's here. It's to show Henry's soft side, like Alex had his moment on the docks. This is Henry's moment at the museum. Henry takes Alex to the V&A Museum, telling him that before his dad died, Henry's dad would take him to the museum before it opened, because no one was there to gawk at them or take their picture. Henry says that when he was little, he'd dream of taking someone he loved there, and he'd like it as much as Henry did, and that they would dance among the statues. That's when Alex pulls out his phone and starts playing a song, and they do dance. Henry asks Alice to be patient with him, because he will be brave for them. Because when people write the history of Henry's life, he wants it to include Alex. And this is where we get the famous
History, huh? Bet we could make some.
The next morning, or like later that afternoon, I guess, because it was kind of night. I don't know. Don't ask me that. Henry sends Alex home on a PJ, on a private jet, using the royal tax dollars, I suppose. I don't know how that works. But they have a cute moment where Henry gives Alex his little signet ring, which if you've seen the movie, Henry fidgets with his signet ring when he's nervous. And Alex gives Henry the necklace with a key on it to his childhood home. So they exchange jewelry, and it's adorable. Alex goes to kiss Henry, but stops himself because they're in the presence of the royal staff. Henry then tells Alex to go win an election. The next morning, this is when the fucking pacing gets dumb. I'm pretty sure that in the book, Henry and Alex wake up together and find out that their emails have been leaked. But in the movie, they send Alex all the way home for America for Henry to find out on his own from his sister B. I don't know. What was the reason? So Henry wakes up to odd chatter in the palace and goes to find his sister. She tells him that not just some, but all of his and Alex's emails have been leaked and posted to Reddit. Or hacked and posted to Reddit. That's when Henry learns that he can't call Alex because everyone's phones have been confiscated via orders from Buckingham. The king's equerry informs Henry that the press believe this was a wholly fabricated scenario from certain rogue elements within the media. We then get a news montage with reporters covering the so-called Waterloo letters, with Joy Reid interviewing Miguel. This is where we learn that Miguel had published an article only 2.5 hours after the initial leak, which was of 73 of Henry and Alex's emails, which is all of them, and what even is the math on that? So 120 plus 30, 150 minutes to read 73 emails. That's less than 2 minutes per email. And have a whole, article ready to go? Yeah, of course he had. Anyway, I just did that math. Did you see that? Anyway. But yeah, it's kind of hinted that Miguel was behind this. It's also where it differs from the book, where in the book, I'm pretty sure I think it's still Miguel in the book, but it's because he's working for the other, he's working for the Republicans. And I think, I understand why they cut that, but also could have put it in there. Alex then gives a press conference saying some beautiful things about the choices to come out, how no one should be forced, how things should happen when a queer individual wants them to happen. He then continues,
But there is another truth that's much simpler. I fell in love with a person who happens to be a man, and that man happens to be a prince. He has captured my heart and made my life immeasurably better. I love His Royal Highness, Prince Henry George, Edward James, Hanover Stuart Fox. I hope one day we'll have the opportunity to be public about our relationship on our own terms.
And it's after the press conference that we see him and Zara watching it. Zara tells Alex that she's proud of him. Alex then goes on a cute monologue about Henry, which in classic Zara fashion makes her want to stab him. Instead, she gets out a secret phone to call Sean, Henry's equerry from the first scene. Well, second scene-ish. Alex learns that Sean and Zara are together, but he also gets to talk to Henry. The first thing that Alex says is, "Baby." Alex tells Henry that he's coming to London and that he'll break the sound barrier for him. It seems like once Alex returns, they maybe have a day or two until the king calls him and the royal siblings for a meeting. So when they get to Buckingham, Henry's sister B is there and his brother Philip. Then the king, Stephen Fry, anyway, finally arrives. The king explains that during World War II, British intelligence created clandestine disinformation campaigns against other governments. And while Britain only used them as wartime during the war, other governments might be using the tactics currently, and that might explain why there are emails between Alex and Henry. in their love. And Henry says, they're all true, Grandpa. And that's beautiful. Hey, admitting he's come so far from, like, not wanting Alex to say the L word, from running away, to standing up to his grandpa who told him to keep his selfish indulgences to himself, any poor things that will reflect on the crown, to being like, no, I am gay and I love him. Personal growth is crazy and I love it. The king bulldozes over that. He's like, I don't care if it's true. I have directed Palace Communications to issue a firm denial of everything. Henry says that the emails aren't accusations, but they are the truth. And the king goes on to say that he is determined to protect Henry from this, the truth. He's just determined to protect him from all of it, no matter if it's true or not. That's when Henry's brother Philip butts in, telling Henry that he should not throw away his future because of one mad infatuation. Henry then asks Philip if he's read their emails, to which he responds, God, no. Henry tells Philip that what he and Alex have is more than that, more than one mad infatuation. They love each other. The king responds that he has read their emails and that their love is genuine. However, Henry's first responsibility is to England and keeping up a traditional royal image. Finally, Alex speaks up and asks, why is it out of the question? And the king basically tells him to shut up. And he's like, you are party to this problem, not to its solution. So then Henry gets asked the same question, and we get this.
Because the nation simply will not accept a prince who is homosexual.
After the king is informed that there's a large crowd gathering outside, but via his equerry, he instructs Henry and B and Alex to get back to Kensington, to get back to KP, and wait. But B, who is sitting by the window, tells Henry to come and look. When Henry looks outside, there's a huge crowd of supporters waving rainbow flags and celebrating him. Henry stands at the doors and delivers one of the best lines in the movie. He goes, I will no longer be the prince of shame and secrets. Starting today, the world will know me for who I am, not who you want me to be. Yeah. Well, yes! The king tells Henry to think about this, that if he steps through those doors, there will be no turning back. Alex and Henry exchange an I love you kiss, and they step out onto that balcony. 'Cause of course they do! Of course they do! Anyway. After they go out onto the balcony, the next thing we see is Alex back in Texas on election night, where the race has come down to Texas. Alex sees his mom and Zara drafting a concession speech and heads back out to where Henry is. They go away from everyone and have a chat. Alex and Henry then hear a bunch of commotion from the common area, where they get back to where Rachel Maddow is announcing that with Texas's 40 electoral votes, that Ellen Claremont has officially been reelected as president of the United States. I'm crying, I'm bawling, I'm like a baby, I'm like a little baby actually. Every time I watch this, I cry at that because okay. I'm just gonna keep going with, sorry, my camera died again, but I have to go soon, so I'm sorry. I'm about to end it anyway. Alex, and every time I cry at this because I voted for the first time last year and I voted for Kamala. And obviously we've seen the way that played out. And so to see a woman win an electoral vote, who said that? After Ellen gives her acceptance speech, Alex asks Henry if he's still wearing the key.
We won.
We won.
After you.
Wow, you really are working class, aren't you?
Oh, shut up, Your Majesty. Do you want me to give you a tour of the house?
Yes, lead the way, darling.
All right, so I took my first step right over there.
And that was Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is one of my top 4 on Letterboxd, so I hope you enjoyed it, because I love it. I love this movie. It's just a fun rom-com that sometimes doesn't really make sense, and it's fun, and it's campy, and it's gay, and it's awesome. And we need more queer representation in media, so I can't wait to watch the second one with you all. Thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you next time. Toodles.
Shut up!